Okay. Hello. Um, I just wanted to make this YouTube video real quick to show people out there a potentially better way to make panel lines. So, if you're modeling and you're like, oh, I need a panel lining, right? Something like this. Um, this might be a better way to do that in certain scenarios. So, when I was first looking looking up how to do this, trying to figure out. Um, I'm sure some of you guys are aware of Mussi. He's a great YouTuber, has tons of awesome information about Maya. He's clearly been doing this for a lengthy period of time, and he knows what he's talking about. Um, but as you can see here, he is doing a panel lining on this mesh, and if we just watch, he's done what most of us would probably do, which is where you would line out where you want the panel line with edges, then you would bevel those, and then he's gonna extrude into the mesh here, and it's gonna give him a pretty interesting result. So we'll just watch him do this real quick. Um, yeah, okay, so right there. So now he's extruding, and as you can see, it's gonna give him a slightly interesting result here. So if we go back, this is probably the best shot here you can see. So you can see right here, it's kind of wonky, and he goes on to talk about it, and he says specifically his way to fix something like this would be to come in here and grab this vert on the inside and manually align it so that it's under air quotes the edge that it's supposed to be, so it's aligned, right? I think there are a couple problems with that. First of all, it's pretty tedious, and obviously there are some tedious things that you're gonna have to do when modeling. But I think it's always good to kind of try and avoid that stuff. It's if you can do it all in one big group select and then edit, it's gonna be much faster. So the other big issue is that, especially, this is a great example shape because you can see that this face that he's working on is not really aligned to any like world axes. So you can see like right now his manipulator is aligned to for the extrude function, this one's aligned to the face that it's on top of, and then whatever you do to this, it will apply with respect to the normal of the other faces that he has selected. So when he changes that thickness, it's the same as grabbing this blue arrow, and I can show you right in here. So if this is a shape that I was working on, and this is kind of the reason I stumbled across this. But as you can see right here, I've got my my loop, and this is where my panel line is going to go. And obviously, yours may not be a loop, but just as you saw in Musi's video, just do your best to select the edges that you want specifically to extrude. So I'm just lucky that in my case it's a nice easy loop. So what he did is he hit the extrude, and then he basically just went in like this and extruded along each face's respective normal. So if we look at this from the side, you can see that a couple things are looking a little weird, especially around this corner. It doesn't look so whoops. Doesn't look so bad up here at the top, but corners tend to be problematic. I'm not exactly sure like why in this specific case this corner is problematic. There's another example I'll show you in a second that I do know why it's problematic, and it's very similar to the one that Mr. Mussi did in his video. But as you can see, right, this thickness, this depth that we've extruded here isn't the same for here, and this line is no longer parallel to the face that it came from, and these aren't parallel, and it just doesn't look great. And probably from however you're rendering this model, probably people, if it's a tiny detail, people aren't going to notice. So it's not a huge deal, but I found a way that might be better, and I wanted to share it. So I'm just going to undo that. And basically, what you want to do is obviously you want to select your faces, but then you want to delete them, right? So for me, I'm going to do something like this. And this is specifically for things like corners. There are two examples I'll show you and how they are, I think, a little better. So then what I would do is I would grab these and I would separate them, and then I would isolate, and I would rebridge. And now this is going to give me a big nasty n-gon, and you can fix this. This is kind of the only way I think you can fix this, is just to go around and reinsert all these edges. Now, once again, this is a little tedious, but I will say that manually sliding these edges in where you already have, things sort of lined up is a lot faster than trying to grab, like, let's say, like, 50 different verts, and, you're trying to align your manipulator to some sort of component that is how you want the vert to be under, and then you have to like snap it, and you have to do that per vert. So I think just doing these edges is a lot faster than putting all those verts back in place. So just to save you guys some time, I have already done this step with all the edges, right? And you want to do this to both shapes. So you want to refill in that hole, and then you want to like you want to bridge all those edges that you've messed up. And if yours gives you like a weird like shading error, like over here you can see this one's a little weird, you can just come up here to mesh display, and under normals you can just set to face, and that will fix the shading issue in most cases. There are some times where it doesn't. I'm not exactly sure why, but that should help. So once you, here, I'm just going to delete these. Once you have your edges back in, you're going to come into each individual shape, and you're going to grab all the faces that you want the panel line on, right? So I don't want it on the bottom, but I do want it in here. And I'm just going to extrude, and then under this offset tab, I'm just going to put in like 0.25. This is just a value that I like. It looks pretty even, and as you can see already, this corner looks a lot nicer. I don't know exactly why. I don't know exactly why this works, but I think it does. So I'm going to delete those faces, and then I'm going to go back out and grab this object and do the same thing. Face. Whoops. And I'm going to grab all those, and then we're going to extrude, and we're just going to do the same value. And this same value works because these, don't forget to delete those. But these two shapes obviously come from they're cut from the same piece. So that means they're going to have like the same width, and this same value should work because they're at the same scale and everything. So and then up here, I'm just going to recombine them, and then I'm going to go back to my edges, and we're just going to grab those interior ones. And then from here, you can bridge. Now, to get to this menu, I'm just holding shift and right clicking and then going to bridge. Or if you're on the default Maya, it's right up here at the top. That's the same deal. And then sometimes it will give you this weird thing where like this edge won't be across. It'll be like down here or like up one. You can just come to this twist function, and you can do this until it connects the way that you want. So sometimes it'll be weird. Just use that twist function. So, and right here, if we look, obviously it's not perfect, but it's a lot closer, right? These are still not quite parallel, and I'm sure it has something else to do with how I modeled this from the start. But as for this corner, it looks a lot cleaner. And so yeah, that's my alternate way to add some panel lines. And then another thing you can do, so this is another example I'm just going to show real quick, just so that I can I think try and diagnose exactly what is actually I don't need to do that. Try and diagnose exactly what's happening. So there are some cases where I'm not quite sure what's happening, but in this particular case, which is I would say almost identical to Mr. Mussi's, is that the normals are not perpendicular to the direction that you're wanting your panel line to go. So to give you an example, right here, if I just grab all these and then I hit extrude, and then we're just gonna take this in like that. Yeah, and you can see right here, whoops, here, let me just try and, whoa, too close. Yeah, so right here, this is basically exactly what's happening to, whoops, to Mr. Mussi. So you see, looks very similar, and the reason for that is because this face that we have extruded is the normal is pointing this way, right? So hold on, where's my pencil tool? Right, so this is the perpendicular to this face. When you extrude along the normal, that's the direction it's going to push the face, right? And as you can see, it's pushed it over here to the left a little bit. But obviously, us as humans, we can make intuitive kind of leaps and decisions and understand that. I don't know. There we go. Sure. Like this shape is not. It doesn't really follow any of the world axes. It's it's not really aligned. It's curved. There's a lot of weird things going on. So if I had this in real life, I could obviously lay this flat, and I could make sure that these were underneath each other. But we can't. It's sometimes not always possible to do that. So when you have a face that's like this and it's going to extrude this way, right? We want it to go this way, and I think a quick way to get that result is with this sort of separation and then rebridging technique that I just showed. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you learned something, definitely leave a like. If you have comments, feel free to comment. Yeah, have a great day. Thank you guys.